Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Mr. On My Lewis back at you with another video. Alright, so in today's video we're going to be talking about what you should do if nobody likes you as an introvert. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't hit the notification icon, make sure you hit that notification icon. And if you haven't hit the like button just yet, because looking at my face wasn't enough for you to hit the like button, then make sure you hit that like button after this video is over if you actually do happen to learn something from it. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So as an introvert, you know, what if nobody likes you? What if you're just too quiet? Maybe people think you're weird. Maybe people think you're shy. Maybe people think you have some sort of problem. You're bipolar. You have some sort of a ADHD problem. You have some sort of disease, some syndrome, something, right? It's crazy. And the reason I say this is because I've actually been called everything. Everything I just said, I've been called. And amongst other things, like creature and, you know, just plain out like fucking crazy and like alien and stuff like that. I'm serious. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I don't get called this stuff anymore. Maybe just weird, but and weird, bipolar is I get called once in a while. So some of those things, but not the hardcore ones like alien or creature or anything like that. But I did, you know, at some point when I was going to school, I got called all sorts of names, and it was just horrible. It was just horrible because, first of all, you know, I was an introvert, and I still am an introvert. However, I had not embraced my introverted side just yet. So in my mind, I was a little bit confused because I was like, I didn't understand what was going on because, you know, part of me just wanted to respond. I wanted to say something. I could have said something very, very, very intelligently. I could have probably destroyed this guy in seconds. You know, or sometimes it was a girl, so I could have probably destroyed her in seconds if I really chose to actually respond and say something. Because, like I said, you know, introverts, yes, we don't talk as much, but when we do, we have something hardcore, something deep, something very intellectual to say. So don't mess with introverts. But yeah, so let's just say you're in this situation, right? You're getting bullied, you're getting just roasted left and right. People don't like you, people don't want to talk to you, and you're just feeling in a place where you're just in a rut. You know, you're just in a rut. You feel like just the whole world is against you, nobody likes you, everybody just wants to step on you. You know, just life itself wants to get rid of you, and it's just horrible, right? Believe me, as an introvert, you have these thoughts sometimes because we know us introverts, you know, we tend to overthink, and I'll probably make a separate video on, you know, how to deal with overthinking. But just know that, you know, as introverts, we just overthink things sometimes, and so that's not good sometimes because the overthinking isn't that positive. But anyway, so here's the thing, like, first of all, a lot of people don't understand introverts. You gotta really understand that. A lot of people don't understand introverts, and for the most part, probably not a lot of people will, unless of course they take the time to do the research. And in order for somebody, let's just say an extrovert, to take the time to go and research and actually want to pay some sort of attention to what an introvert even is, the possibilities, the percentage is very low. And the reasons are very few. I mean, they would really have to find an introvert who really changes their life in order for them to take some sort of care, some sort of diligence to go and take some time out of their precious day to go and do the research. And so just by you knowing that, I want you to understand that most extroverts, my bad, they just won't care. Or just people who just don't understand introverts, or who are not introverts, and all these people who talk shit to you, it's very hard for them to actually understand what an introvert is. You know, they'll most likely, like I said, they'll describe you as many of these things that I just said. They'll describe you as weird, bipolar, all this bullshit, right? And that's because they just don't understand what an introvert is. So just understand that just being an introvert itself is a little bit complicated now, and it'll take people to have the will to do the research in order for them to understand you. So by default, because they don't understand you, and they start calling you all these names, they call you all these names because deep down they're actually scared of you. They are scared of you because they don't understand you. But like it's human nature. Us humans, we like to place a label on everything. We like to judge everything, no matter what. Even especially when we don't understand it, we need to understand it. We have that need to understand. And so if we just don't understand it, but it's not very popular, just like as introverts, they're not very popular, as you might know. That's not something that just goes around and people are talking about introverts all the time. For the most part, people are just not aware of what the heck an introvert is. And so, yeah. So they'll just label you as something else, something that is more common, like being weird. Being weird is actually a little bit more common now than being an introvert. And also being crazy, being bipolar, bipolar, like what the hell? Like it's just insane sometimes. But the phrases that people use, and it's just it's all very like insulting, and the reason why they would go to such a degree to insult you is because, like I said, they're scared. So they're scared, and so the first thing they want to do is really attack you. They want to attack you because they're scared of you. They want to eliminate you right away before you become a danger. And the thing is that you can become a danger if you really acknowledge and you embrace being an introvert. Because once you embrace being an introvert, it's very hard for people to really take you down, because you don't need people. You need 2 or 3 people, but you don't really need like a huge network. So even if like 10, 20, 30 people were to go against you, you wouldn't really care, because you don't need 20, 30 people. As long as you have like 2, 3 people, and nobody really knows who these 2, 3 people are that are very special in your life, as long as those don't turn on you, fuck everyone, right? And if you're an introvert, you know what I'm talking about. But but yeah, yeah. So that's the first thing you have to acknowledge. If people are bullying you and telling you shit, just acknowledge that just people are pretty idiotic and they're very ignorant and they're just stupid. They don't know what an introvert is, so they just feel the need to attack and everything like that. So whatever. Let people do as they may. You can't control that. You can't control people just calling you names and stuff like that. Sure, you can always, stand up for yourself if that's an option right now, because, as I said, introverts don't naturally tend to stand up for themselves and start talking shit back to the other person, even though they have something to say. For the most part, us introverts will just keep it into ourselves, because we don't want to create this entire attention around the whole situation, because if we do happen to respond, like I said, it's going to be a very hardcore, very deep, and very savage response, and it's going to be very hardcore. And the reason why it's going to be like that is because we don't actually give a fuck about the other person. We really don't care. We like I said in the previous video, having empathy and compassion for somebody is actually very hard for us as introverts. So believe me, if we can, we already we have to put in some work to show some empathy and compassion for somebody we love. Do you really think we're going to show any compassion or empathy for somebody that's talking shit to us? Forget it. It's not happening. It's not happening. Not even 1%. So yeah, you just understand that. And so yeah. Like I said, you as an introvert, you might not want to draw attention to too much attention to you, so you might just decide to not respond. And that's okay. If you don't want to respond at this point, don't respond. Eventually, though, you're going to want to respond. But you're just not ready yet, because you just don't know the steps in order for you to get there. So first of all, just acknowledge that people are very ignorant. People don't understand introverts, and that's okay. You can't force the entire population to understand what an introvert is. That's just going to be something that's going to happen. Number 2, second thing you're going to have to do is start looking into yourself. Start looking into this introverted world. So you, by watching this video, you're already taking a very good step in order for you to get there. But I want you to do even more in-depth research. So that could either be, to look around my channel and look at more of my videos, or you can feel free to look at other videos here on YouTube, because I personally do that myself as well. Even though I teach this, I still go on YouTube and I still do some research on, other videos, who are making very, very, very awesome introverted videos about introverts, and so you're gonna learn a lot of the small nuances, that are involved in being an introvert. And believe me, I'm gonna get to those eventually on this channel, since I just recently made that transition of teaching specifically introverts personal development, as opposed to before where it was more generic, it was more for everybody. But yeah, definitely do the research and really look into this introverted world, and see how you as an introvert, you have so much power, you have so much to offer to the world, and so you have a lot, but you just don't know that yet. You just don't know your value as an introvert just yet. So definitely go and do that research and start to learn, start to see, start to associate your experiences with the knowledge that you're learning in that research, and really try to, go into that road of actually starting to embrace you being an introvert. Start embracing the things that come with that. Sure, you may not be as outspoken and stuff like that, but you're more analytical. So you have more analytical skills than most extroverts out there who are just talking and talking and talking. You can actually break down formulas very easily and plan and strategize things so much faster than an extrovert ever will. And there's so many advantages to being an introvert, and you have to realize what those are, because once you realize what those are, you're going to realize what your strengths are as an introvert. And once you realize what your strengths are as an introvert, that's when you start to feel a little bit more powerful now. You start to feel a little bit more in control of yourself. And that's really what you need to move on to the next step. So once you've done the research, once you've, started the road in order to embrace your introverted side, the last thing you're going to want to do in order to deal with people hating you and talking shit to you is now you're going to stand up for yourself, and you're actually going to talk shit back. And here's the thing. Yes, this part will be pretty hard, and this is what I'm currently doing right now. I'm actually working on this third step right now, where you start to talk shit back to people and stuff like that. When they start to mess with you and stuff like that, and this part isn't easy. But the reason why it's a little bit more, it's not easy, but it's a little bit easier than if you didn't take these prior steps, because at this point you actually have some power now. You understand yourself, so you can respond even more intelligently than you would have before you even took the steps. Before you understood that, number one, people don't understand introverts, and number two, people just don't understand. And number two, like, you just didn't have the necessary knowledge to know like what an introvert really is and what an introvert is really capable of. But now you do. Now you know what you're capable of. Now you know what your strengths are. So now you're able to make a very powerful comeback and really do whatever is necessary in order for you to really accomplish that and really be able to respond in the most appropriate way possible. And at the same time, when you respond, you really don't want to respond in a way where you're going to attack the other person, but you want to respond in a way where where you pretty much, you let the other person know, you inform them. You let them know, like, hey, you know what, like they just say maybe they're calling you weird or something like that and stuff like that. ¿Ah?
¿Ya hicieron video o no?
Ya hicimos, estoy grabando video. Anyway, guys, very sorry about that. I got cut off here, but yeah, like I was saying, now you'll have the knowledge. You'll know what your strengths are. You'll know what your weaknesses are. So you won't be really tapping into your weakness and trying to try to like respond in a way where you have to bring out your weaknesses. Like, you'll understand what your strengths are now, and so that's so much more helpful at this point, than previously. So definitely, it's very necessary that you take these steps, and I guarantee you that once you start doing this, people will stop messing with you. And of course, the people who just don't care about you, well, then you can let them go. And sure, this might be a little bit harder, as this is more of a topic of validation now, because sometimes you do want to be around these people because you want to be validated. Perhaps you've been feeling way too lonely to the point where you feel like being lonely is bad, since a lot of people say that, you being lonely is a bad thing and you shouldn't want to be lonely, and being alone is just bad. Well, here's the thing. Being alone and being lonely, it's not bad at all. especially for an introvert. It's actually it's actually a privilege sometimes to be able to be alone, you know, because so many people want our fucking services and shit, and we have to go out there and interact with people and all this stuff. So sometimes it's not very plausible to go out there and do that. But hey, you know, it is what it is, right? So you're just gonna have to put in that work, man. You're just gonna have to go and apply this process, and I guarantee you that people will stop messing with you. And yeah, that's really it right there, man. That's really it. That's how you get people to really, you know, stop messing with you and stop saying shit and all this stuff. And yeah, that's really how you do it. And like I said, I mean, this isn't going to work 100%, of course. You know, there may be times where, you know, people just try to they'll just try to battle you and they'll try to take you down, and then you'll get into a very, very heated argument and stuff like that. But like, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, like I was saying, so I'll make a separate video where I talk about like validation in case you're stuck in that area where you feel like the need of like you need to be with someone in order for you to feel happy, to feel like everything's okay and stuff like that, you know. So really embracing you being a little bit lonely for a little while, because the truth is you don't want to be lonely forever, obviously. Even if you're an introvert, you don't want to be lonely. You still want to, you know, be able to interact with people. However, you don't have to be like an extrovert who is interacting with like thousands of people a day or something like that, right? You just need to be able to interact with 2, 3, 4 people, you know, a couple of people a day. You don't need that many, but you do need a couple of people here and there, because human interaction itself is very necessary in order for you to continue moving forward. However, you're never going to find the right people if you continue being stuck in that validation state, you know, where you're constantly needing to be validated. And perhaps because you constantly need to be validated, you don't want to respond to these people. You don't want to talk shit back, because even though they're talking shit to you, they're still validating you in some way, you know, some way, somehow. So they're really like doing like this, what's called in game, which is like the push-pull, you know, where they talk shit to you, but then they're nice to you, and then they talk shit to you again, and they're nice to you again, and it's like a trap, you know, just to keep you lingering around and stuff. And they're really just having fun with you at that point. So I'm gonna make a separate video where I'll teach you exactly, you know, how to step out of that. But for now, just understand that, you know, generally that's not what people are doing to you, because that's something that only a few people would really do, and very few people would actually fall into that for a very, very long time, especially introverts, because, you know, we tend to be pretty smart, pretty genius, so eventually we'll catch up to it and we'll just end it, and we're fairly pretty smart at it. But who knows, maybe you haven't caught up to it yet, and that's perfectly normal. I'm gonna make a separate video where I teach you how to do that. But for now, just in case, you know, generally people are just talking shit to you, maybe they're just acquaintances and you don't really give a fuck about them, but you would like them to stop talking shit to you because you feel disrespected, then you apply this process. So first of all, just understand that people are very ignorant. They won't understand introverts. Second of all, start looking up your strengths as an introvert. And third of all, that's when you start to apply your strength and you start to respond to these people, but in a very empathetic way, where you just let them know that, hey, you know what, yes, I understand you want to call me weird and stuff, but really think about it. Like, what do you mean by weird? Like, that's just very bland. Can you at least give me a little bit more of a little bit more feedback as to why you think I'm weird? Like, what is it? What is it exactly? You know, let's have a conversation here. Why is it that you think I'm weird? Like, do you think just because of that, because I'm doing this? Well, just because you've never seen it before, it doesn't mean it's weird. It just means that you just haven't seen it enough times in order for you to feel like that's something normal, you know, to implement into your life and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of things, and so it's very empathetic, very like non-aggressive type of response, because you're coming from a place of strength. You're coming from a place of, you want to inform them rather than actually attack them or anything like that, like they have. So yeah. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit it with a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification icon, and make sure that you let your friends know that I exist. Alright, so there's going to be some videos right here and here, so you guys can go ahead and check out more of my content. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.